часов вечера в Москве. Вы смотрите телеканал «Дождь». Мы работаем в прямом эфире. Это информационная программа «Здесь и сейчас». Меня зовут Екатерина.
It captures that moment from when it's still possible to work openly as independent journalists inside your country to when suddenly Russia starts a full-scale war in Ukraine and everyone has to flee the country. This is a film about a country that had been slowly growing towards authoritarianism, and suddenly it starts sliding incredibly rapidly towards authoritarianism.
For me, this is a movie about women who fight for their right to work as journalists and who fight for their future and their children's future, and about bravery, but not this kind of male bravery when you drink cognac and discuss your plans, but in about very quiet bravery and about moral choices that you face and the bravery to take responsibility for your choices. And I think it's also a movie about friendship and love. That's true.
I think it's a movie about normal people, like Sally Rooney's book, Normal People, trying to live their life, decent life, which in their case means to be in their position, trying to do their job, trying to fight a good fight, till the moment they realize that it is totally impossible.
I'd watched TV Rain. I mean, especially like when Navalny was coming back, I was watching it live in real time. And I knew Anya socially, and she had this amazing show that she was hosting called Who's Got the Power?
Что делать-то, если такой беспредел творится? Это «Кто здесь власть?» Меня зовут Аня Немзер.
She just started in the summer of 21, and it was focused on activists and people who were trying to make a better Russia, even as it was becoming increasingly authoritarian. I thought her show was just absolutely amazing, and so I would watch it every time it came out. And she was really my main entry point into this world.
And I worked at TV Rain.
Yes, so obviously, yes.
Yeah.
In the summer of 21, Russia started declaring all these media and independent journalists, like individuals, as foreign agents. So, for example, I mean, I'm not a foreign agent, but if I were one, I would have to put on everything, hi, I'm Julia, and I'm a foreign agent, except this would be a very long, legalistic paragraph. And I would have to put this not only on like every story, I would have to put it on my Instagram dog pictures, on a comment on a friend's wedding pictures, on Facebook. Everywhere that I was in public, I would have to come in and say, hi, I'm a foreign agent.
So basically, the authorities accused people of having some foreign influence. What it meant, nobody knew and nobody explained that. And there were a bunch of bureaucratic stuff. Also, you had to provide financial reports talking about all your expenses and income and so on. And if you make one mistake, it's an administrative fee. 2 mistakes, it's a fee. And 3 mistakes, it's a criminal charge. Basically, and most important, I think, it was something that created an atmosphere of fear and mistrust in the society because no one knew how to deal with that. And people started refusing working with foreign agents because they thought if they hire a foreign agent, they might be designated themselves. And so it created the atmosphere of not knowing what's going to happen, but this constant feeling of something dangerous, contagious, and atmosphere of fear and mistrust. I think that was the most horrifying thing.
So the whole foreign agent designation, I think the idea was to make journalists suspects because they didn't start with the most important journalists, you know. It felt like they were putting, you know, names out of a lotto hat, some of whom were as young as 23 and just kind of random, which is the idea. I think that's how authoritarianism works. The idea was to make journalism suspect.
It was hard sometimes, and as journalists, as video journalists, we used to be somewhere near camera, near your cameraman, camerawoman. It's hard to show your emotions, and also you always like, I'm a control freak. I'm always like, okay, should I show this one or this one? But then everything happened so quickly. Something was happening every second. You just have no time to process that Julia is somewhere near, and I think she was very delicate, and she was there with us. It was as dangerous for her as it was dangerous for us. We were just together in this. For example, when we were on TV Rain and our landlord called and said the police is coming, I mean, Julia was there with us, so I didn't feel like it's someone with a huge camera follow me. Like, if we have some problems, she has some problems too.
And I think physical distance is kind of an interesting part of this. I mean, first of all, I was filming on an iPhone. I had a little mic on it and I had a little lens on it, but it's a completely different, I wish you could see the other side of what this is. There's a bunch of cameras here and they're far away and we feel like, you know, it's a very different relationship when you have, and that's how a lot of people actually shoot, you know, documentaries. They'll have a long lens, they'll be across the room, they'll be far away. But in fact, when you're shooting on an iPhone, and I had a little lens on it still, but I love close-ups. And so for me to shoot that close-up, I was this distance away from, you know, you couldn't, so you kind of had to get used to my body being there. Like I was sitting the natural distance you are from your friends. And I think it creates a closeness that you feel in the film because you're actually, the viewer is as physically close as I am.
On the other hand, I was super aware each moment, each minute. Because of two reasons, I think. First of all, I was trying to be a co-director. And second is that I always knew that the moment I say, turn it off right now, Julia will do so. And knowing that was very important. And we knew this option was always there. And it was important. But that made me always aware of what's going on. And I was like, okay, I know. Okay, it's worth it. Okay, people should see this. I prefer never would ever see this face, but as a co-director, I was like, okay, let's do that.
I think also that this thing that Julia asked everyone, like literally everyone who was on one of the footage, she asked everyone if she's allowed to use it. I think it also made me more sure about it.
Yeah, I got permission from everyone after the fact because one of the things about it is we were filming in a situation where the risk was changing. So it didn't matter if I got consent at the beginning of filming. You know, it was a different world by the end of filming. So I literally showed every sound person or makeup person who like just flashed through the frame for a second. I'm like, here's your 1.5 seconds of fame of you walking in the background. Are you okay with me using it? And if someone wanted to be protected, I would blur them or frame them out. I felt that I can't add to all of the people that I'm filming are taking incredible risks. So they're choosing to take that risk. They're working out in the open as journalists. So I wanted the risks they take to be their choice. And the interesting thing is there was only one time in that whole time that anybody said, you know, don't film or turn it off. But that's the only time. And there were times that I was like filming Ksusha, like really close. Like, I mean, there's no other way to put it. Like she's crying and I'm shoving a camera in her face. And the only thing that allowed that to happen is just for her to know, I think, that she could say stop. And for me to know that if she wanted me to stop, she would tell me.
It was always like, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry.
When I started making this film, it felt like a film about something very far away. Russia, it's over there. Nasty things happening in a nasty place, you know, has nothing to do with most of us. And as I was making it, we had this screening club and I had friends, you know, from different places who'd like grown up under the dictatorship in Argentina, or my roommates from Iran, or someone from Hong Kong. And they're saying, wow, but this feels like it's about us. You know, it depicts what it feels like to live under authoritarianism in an everyday kind of way, you know, when you still have to feed your kid the next day. And all the contradictions of that and the unpredictability of this. I think what's happened in the past year and a half is that it's kind of startling the extent to which now Americans are saying, well, this is about us. I mean, as a filmmaker, I think this is great to make something so relevant. You know, as a human being, I'm utterly horrified. And there keep being parts of it that, you know, it gets more and more relatable every day that I really wish it wasn't. I was comforting myself thinking the first 3 chapters where there's this increasingly authoritarian crackdown are becoming very relatable for many people around the world, or certainly for Americans, where people say, oh my God, but I recognize this and I recognize that now. But I thought, okay, you know, the part with the war, at least that is not that relatable. And then now, of course, we have, you know, Republicans avoiding the word war. Like Russia basically made it illegal to call it a war. They called it a special military operation. And if you said on air the word war, this was a criminal offense. It has not become a criminal offense yet in the States, but it's the similar language that is being used of like special combat operations. Yeah, the other day there was a New Yorker cartoon of like Leo Tolstoy's the book, and it said special combat operations and peace. And it's all these ways of using language.
These pictures before it was cool. We invented these pictures. It's like New Yorkers just quoting us.
It's just insane. So yeah, I mean, it feels like it's so much not a film about Russia.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
Like I discussed this movie with my friends from all over the world. And it's amazing how like they just feel that, oh, so these people are just like us. We all watch the same shows. We're listening to Britney Spears. Like you are not just people dancing with bears and Gossip Girl or whatever. And like we're all just humans and we're all the same.